Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the community key where we focus on you, focus on us, which is community, and of course, you and us make everything up. So we're here back with another podcast. We got my good friend Iris. She's back again.
Yes.
We're gonna continue off on when me and her and her husband were talking about entrepreneurship, but this time we're gonna dial in a little bit more. And I said,
Mhm.
me and her come in talking for a little bit. And go ahead, Iris, introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Iris Triplet Baker. I am in the Georgia area. I am a serial entrepreneur. Um, I have a passion for entrepreneurship. Been doing this since I was 14 years old. The topic tonight's very dear to me. First generation entrepreneurship. Some of the things I've done is I presently own a real estate firm. I'm in commercial real estate. I've ran youth leagues, did a number of things. So entrepreneurship is my thing.
Good. So give us a little bit about, I guess we can kind of piggyback from the background. What was
Mhm.
your drive or your vision or we say that feel of um why you kind of got into it?
Entrepreneurship or specific.
Just say doing your own thing, your entrepreneurship beginning kind of thing.
Okay. Well, first generation entrepreneur as myself, the drive is it's just something like a passion. You have an interest in something. So I've always had interest in how businesses were started. Um, what triggered someone to have an idea to do that. So the drive has just always been there as a child, but I guess when we're growing up, it's you know curiosity about something. So I was always curious about business topics or businesses in general. So again, that started at about 14 that I could remember.
Okay.
So and just went from there.
Okay. So what was your first say your first dibble or your first thing you kind of like really got into? Like as you said, when you started as a little kid, what was your first thing you can say you
Raking
started?
leaves and snow for money back when we was
Okay.
a child. You never know. That was a business and thing. You exchange a labor or a service for money. It's a business. So
Okay.
when I was that young, I would go around and rake leaves and snow and for neighbors and make money. Even sometimes take groceries in to the house. So for the
Uh,
elderly.
okay.
So and they would pay me. So I was always that type of person looking to do something to make money. So some people call it a hustle, but it's really the beginning of business minded.
Okay. See, that's your first. You said what's the word? I guess excitement. You can
Yeah,
say.
yeah.
Yeah.
That first aha moment, like something that makes you excited or opens your eyes, like get your mind wondering, like what's this about? That
Mhm.
first interest. So definitely that. I remember riding past buildings and or seeing work trucks or what made them want to go into a business doing that, making screws, coffee shops, all type of stuff. When you just see businesses names, I used to look at signs,
Yeah.
business signs, as I was little, sitting in the back seat, of a car, and I'm just riding past looking at all the bright business signs, reading them. So
Hmm.
it's
Okay.
always been an interest.
So we can kind of say that your first taste as a little kid, and you realize, okay, this is something that I like, and it's
Hmm.
kind of your mind kind of started run a little bit like, what else can I do? What else can I evolve into or experience more? Like, okay, what else can I do in this case of just make money for myself at the
Hmm.
same time, what you love?
Right. And being a first generation, because as our title says, let's start from there.
Mhm.
I am the first person in my family that had a business entrepreneur mindset. So getting to that, you didn't even know like what that's what you were doing. That's what I were doing. That's what I was doing when I was making money
Yeah.
from an idea. It just didn't never connect as as a business.
Mhm.
Um, so to get to the next level of what can I do to move this forward, I don't think that moment really existed. It's just kept happening. You just have these thoughts and these dreams, and then you just do it and you keep moving forward. But when you don't have somebody around you to nurture that and tell you that's what you're doing, it's
Yeah.
just you were just doing it. So I don't know when the aha moment came as far as business. I think that was more in my adult years when I really understood it.
Yeah.
But growing up, now, you've always been business minded, Iris, as a child. So,
I like
and
that.
even now, still, like, yeah, my family wouldn't be able to say, you say what really sparked that. Like, it had to be self sparked for me because there wasn't enough people around me that understood it to tell me, that's a pretty good idea. You can go further with this. You can do this with that. So, I was always encouraged to, find a trade or get a degree and
Yeah.
make a good living off of that, or go to a factory. I'm from Kentucky, so a lot of Ford, Toyota, a lot of factory work there.
Mhm.
GE, you get a job there, you're doing good. So that's what was kind of promoted. It's growing up, like, get you a good job or a good education and live a good life, pay your bills on time.
The
Hmm.
normal
Hmm.
what we hear, the old school, as I
Yes.
say,
Hmm.
and it's like, which we can say there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing
Right.
wrong per se, but
Hmm.
after going through different generations, you realize that's not for everybody.
Right.
It's like even not even the job aspect, it's just the generation of that time,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
Fast forward now, it doesn't jive for everybody, right? So it's like, what is it that I can say for myself? That's why I'm not feeling comfortable. Why I'm feel like I want more, and it's
Hmm.
like sometimes you don't
But when did it
understand.
not start jiving? Because if we go back to our history, Tulsa, if you really go back into our history, there was plenty business owners.
Yes.
We own. So when did it change where that was not enforced? So I think it's always been there.
Hmm.
It's just something changed to discourage us from it. So when I, really started looking at when we started really hearing about Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma, I mean, those were all Black business owners. And then, and I'm not just even just speaking, but like business ownership has always been there. But it's just it went to a time where we didn't see it as being a comfortable way of living where it
Yeah.
used to be. So I know
So,
for me, I'm a 70s baby.
mhm.
And that's, with a lot of changes when we were able to get into schools more freely, or, go to colleges and do certain things that other people, that some of our ancestors or older people weren't able to do. So I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that out. But I think ownership and entrepreneurship has always been there. When was it not made comfortable to be that?
Let's piggyback on what you're saying with the Tulsa situation, right? Can we say maybe things like that cause a ripple of people not wanting to or not don't see themselves doing things for themselves?
There's a lot I could say as far as why certain things
Yeah.
happened, especially when it comes to us as African Americans or Black or wherever you want to identify.
Yeah.
Um, I just think a lot of things were kept away from people for a reason. That type of history was not taught
Yeah.
to us. Um, I know for myself, again, being a first generation entrepreneur, again, my older brother was the one that went to college, was the only one who went to college that was familiar to our family, our
Yeah.
small family. My mom was a maid, and she had an eighth grade education. So anything that went further past that, we were doing good. And then he was able to get a track scholarship, graduate from college, got a degree, got a good job. So that was just the things that was around me too that was shown to be successful.
Hmm.
So entrepreneurship, running a business, I mean, you have to see people doing something that's successful at it for you to even really see yourself being successful in it. So when we stopped seeing so many people, I know from the town and city I'm from, you didn't see a lot of black ownership, business ownership. And if you did, it was generally like a nightclub, a restaurant, and that's about it
Hmm.
that I can remember. So when you don't see that other people doing things that look like you don't see yourself doing it. So business ownership, entrepreneurship was not something that you seen, even though it existed, but who inspires you, who tells you can do it? Not a lot of people, especially first generation. Like I said, when you're the first in your family,
Yeah.
you're not going to see that.
Hmm. This is gonna be interesting. So, I said, be careful with the words, of course, but
Hmm.
I can say my first time feeling where I wanted to do my own thing was the initial time when I first moved. Not really right away when I first moved to Georgia. I think
Hmm.
a year I was there. I just had this feeling it's
Hmm.
like I was getting tired of the norm 9 to
Hmm.
5, even though it's like
Hmm.
it did bring in money. Don't get me wrong. I was able
Hmm.
to pay the bills, take care of the kids, etc., etc. But like
Hmm.
sometimes it got to a point where it was like I'm bored.
Hmm.
It's like I want more, but I didn't know what that more was until I
Hmm.
started seeing like when I was heavy into YouTube, seeing a
Hmm.
lot of entrepreneurs talking about certain things, and they were like really talking about, hey, this is something that you could do, but they were being straightforward, like this is not easy. It's not for
Hmm.
everybody.
Right.
So being able to like relate to what they're explaining and like really seeing what
Hmm.
they're talking about made sense.
Yes.
So it's like, so what is it that I can do to start that journey, right?
Right.
And of course, lifestyle life, and you got busy kids,
Hmm.
career, stuff like that. So you kind of had to like back off a little bit because you're unable to not say succeed, but not able to really start because you have to step back and you, of course, because you have responsibilities,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So I put it on
Hmm.
pause. And that's when I got more involved in my career and because of taking the family, whatever. And then career started shooting up.
Hmm.
And it's like, okay, I need to focus on what's in front of me now.
Right.
Right.
Hmm.
Then moving to Texas, same situation, career was extremely busy. Kids getting older now. They have a lot more activities, and my time for me to focus is very minimum.
Hmm.
Right.
Hmm.
So it's like I put everything on the back burner. And
Hmm.
then 22 came, not 22, 21-ish into 22, that same feeling came back.
Hmm.
And I was like, I want to do something for myself that means something for me
Yeah.
first.
Hmm.
And that's how I kind of got into the content thing. It's like I wanted to learn more. So now I'm able to water that feeling, but at the same
Hmm.
time, it's not affecting my responsibilities per se, right?
Right.
So not thinking, okay, this content thing can be a quote unquote part-time career or a full-time career, even though I'm seeing people doing that, right?
Hmm.
But I've always heard from people that's been doing it for a while is make sure you focus on what your love is, the content, creating the content and being within that realm. Don't focus on the money, because everyone that focus on the money on the content side, they're never successful.
Mm.
So it's
And
like,
see, this content stuff is new to me. So
yeah. So
even as the business.
yeah. So I use this as an entrepreneur because it is
It
under
is.
entrepreneurship, right?
Absolutely. Right.
You're mentioning you felt that first satisfaction as a little kid, right? But
Hmm.
you're doing it because you end up loving it.
And now I do recall when I finally realized that it was time to step out.
Yeah.
I wasn't good being a W-2 worker. I was that person that always got fired because I had my own thoughts and ideas. I had too much to say. I wasn't considered a team player because I was always somewhere strategizing on my own stuff, like lunchtime and stuff. I never really visioned myself growing the company. And when you're a W-2 worker, you're there to your service or your value is still under the umbrella of something else. So
Yeah.
I was never that person. I did my job and I did it well. Most of my jobs were customer service, and that actually is the job that propelled me into entrepreneurship. I was working at PNC Mortgage as a customer service rep, and I would go to lunch with the loan officers, and I noticed how they kind of had a little more free time than we did, and I got to learn about the loan industry, mortgage loans. So that's how I really got into real estate. And then when I went into mortgage loans, it started my
Okay.
entrepreneurship because you work for yourself. So fast forward, things didn't work out, on the customer service side. And then I started doing the mortgage loans. So, but the thing for me is it was never meant for me to be somewhere. Because I look back on my life now, like I got fired from too many jobs. I was just not a good employee. And again, not, my work always stood out.
Yep.
I'm gonna do my job. I'm that type person. If I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it.
Mhm.
But they just didn't get the energy they wanted from me to be
Mm.
like, you're
I
here to grow us. And I'm always was thinking of something else that I can grow on my own. Like I still had a little side hustle all the time or doing something else to make money for myself. My rules, my do things that I wanted to do.
just do
So,
yeah, that urge of
mm-hmm,
doing your own thing.
mm-hmm, yep,
That's exactly what it is. It's like, I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to preach or say, "Hey, I know everything." But
mm-hmm,
everything you're saying is what's been knocking at my door for a minute. I've been putting
mm-hmm.
it off, and like at the same time, it is scary though.
It's very
But
scary.
it's very scary. It's like you realize you're the person that has to do this to be able
Mm-hmm,
to have that income. The
mm-hmm.
goal is income, yes, but at the end of the day, you're providing a service. A service is
Right.
to
But you got to
people.
live. Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm,
But it's like understanding, hey, the goal, like I've visioned this and I've dreamt this too. And I had this conversation recently too, where my goal is whenever that time comes for me to do my thing by own my own business, if a business is to
mm-hmm.
be able to still make money while sleeping.
That's the go. And you know something else that
Mhm.
every person that's thinking about being an entrepreneur, especially first generation, how much are you willing to lose? Nobody ever wants to think about entrepreneurship, how much it comes along and how much losing you got to do to win.
Man. Ooh.
Nobody wants to lose.
That's the thing you gotta I feel that you gotta fall down
Hmm.
at least once to
And you will.
understand how to really maneuver differently.
Hmm.
But understand your vision is your vision
Hmm.
first. And some people may not see or understand that vision,
Most people
but
won't.
you know what your goal is, you know what you need to sacrifice. to at least make those first 2 steps. And you may not be successful the first year or the first 2 years in your mind.
Mhm.
Some people might see you're successful, but that's not your
Mhm.
end goal where you're at the current time. So
Right.
those challenges I'm trying to understand is like, what is do I need to do? What is my next step? What do I need to do? Now, I don't want to feel too comfortable knowing I still have more in me to do, right? So
It's always more.
let's dibble dabble in that. Let's how when you
Mhm.
first got into that feeling of okay, I
Mhm.
feel that I've made my first step to be moving
First jump.
forward. What was
Mhm.
some of your challenges that you were experiencing at the time?
Well, my challenges again, my specialty is first generation entrepreneurship. So my challenges is I didn't have the support team. I didn't have the encouragement. I didn't have the tribe. I didn't
Mhm.
have the money. I didn't have those main four things, which is very important when you jump out and you do something and you're just dependent on you.
Yeah,
And because an idea is just that until it starts making money, is then when it becomes a business.
yeah,
So especially first generation entrepreneurs, we have an abundance of ideas. I like to call us generalists. There's experts and there's Generalists. Generalists can dabble in a lot of stuff, and they'll do a lot of stuff. Where you have somebody who's an expert, they'll do one thing and they'll be great at it and they'll make the money from it. But what I've noticed, and it's like first generation entrepreneurship tend to be more of a generalist, and then they also tend to be not be as social as an expert tease type person.
okay.
They're more introverted. So when creating your tribe and some of the things that was missing and still is, to be honest, is like the right community. Um, like you were speaking, like knowing what to do and where to go so you don't lose as much. That's a coach. But a business coach is going to cost you about 10,000 plus. Who has $10,000, especially
Especially
coming out the
starting
gate?
off, yeah.
Exactly. So you got to jump in and give it all you got. But that's why I said too, like when you jumping in, you got to have a list. Like, how much are you willing to lose? I mean, I've known people that've lost houses, cars. You hear stories. I slept in my car. I lost all my retirement savings. I lost 20, 30, 40,000 that I did have. But if it's a drive and a passion, you keep going. So I know for me, I had a lot. If I think about my whole journey of 25, 30 years doing this, I though not having those things was huge because I always felt like my mindset, my my drive to be I'm a avid researcher. I can put anything together.
Mhm.
But when you're not in the right community, you're not around the right people, um, you don't know which direction really to go with the ideas.
That's you hit that one right on the nail.
Hmm.
Um, got a couple comments. Leap of faith, exactly. True. You
Hmm.
also your availability and time factors as well. You have to keep going. Indeed, yeah. So environment
Hmm.
is huge. It's
Yeah.
I feel is one of the big factors. Um,
Hmm.
and the part that a lot of us can you can say being introvert, being by yourself, right? But
Hmm.
that boost of you having someone in your corners is another thing too. But at
Right.
the same time, that drive of you wanting to go forward is the hardest thing, especially if you're by yourself, because your mind
Yeah.
is a big thing. And that's the
Hmm.
foundation of my podcast is mental health. And
Hmm.
that's the one of the biggest struggles. And I can say for myself, it's like it's some days I wake up like I ain't feeling this today. Yeah, I don't know
Exactly.
if I take the day off, can I recoup that
Hmm.
back tomorrow or next week? It's like,
Hmm.
but sometimes you do have to listen. Like, you know what?
Right.
Let me take a little time for myself because you need it,
Right.
right? Like, even though you know not be physically tired, but your brain
Hmm.
is, but really out of your body, your body feels it.
Yes.
And it's like for
And
this
if your
week,
body and your mind is not operating at a high level, then you as an entrepreneurship, because you are all you have sometimes.
true.
So that's why I'm saying it's a scary place to be in. And even understanding it, like I have to take care of myself. I have to, like I said, when you push yourself and you don't feel like it, or I have to go find people, even though I don't have people around me. I got to go find the right people. Um, and even getting to a point sometimes as a first generation entrepreneur, again, not really encouraged to do it, and having that skill to even socialize correctly, network correctly, because you're in a foreign land. You've been like, this is me by myself. Now I got to learn how to network and socialize when I come from an environment of people that says go to work and get a good job and stop dreaming, you know, that's not going to pay bills.
Yeah.
Um, so it's just so much that you got to invent yourself to be during the process.
Yeah.
I have to learn to do this. I have to learn to focus. I have to learn to take care of my body. I have to learn to eat better. I have to learn to, like you said, push through some type of discipline. So it's a lot. It's a lot that comes with it.
Okay. So what are some of I like to simplify things. What is some of
Mhm.
your remedies or tricks or things that you do for yourself when you get in that rut of like you're not feeling it today?
I
If
don't
you
know if it helps.
if you're already past that phase of taking a break today, you know the
Yeah.
next day or whatever, you're like, okay, I need to get out this little slum. What is it? What are some of the
Yeah.
things you do? You see yourself doing to motivate or push yourself?
I enjoy reading or learning about something new. So I find a topic and kind of read on it, and that kind of relaxes me. But I'm learning to get more specific, get out, get some air, take a walk. Also, like you said, mental breaks. It is so very real. Sometimes just take a mental break, do nothing, go somewhere. My goals in 2025 is to be more able to do that. And that means just may hop in the car, take a whole 2 days off, I'm done,
Mm.
and just kind of just detach from everything. Because as an entrepreneur too, you wear so many hats. You're always thinking. And I'm always, like I said, I love learning and researching, but and that's not always a good thing. You know, even though it relaxes me, it's still now it's charging me up too. So
Yeah.
you just gotta just stop, sit down, be still, or go somewhere, sit on the beach, have a glass of wine, and just detach from the world.
And
Put your phone down.
yeah, that's key too. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you have to do that because
Mm-hmm.
um I don't like seeing mental breakdown, but your body tells you like, hey, I need to for you to pull over the next rest stop.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to get those moments of, as you said, your me time and whatever that me
Mm-hmm.
time can be. That's me time could be getting your nails, feet done, getting your hair cut, um,
Mm-hmm.
going to the spa, sitting in the back drinking some wine or some smoke a cigar,
Mm-hmm.
whatever you want to call it. And it doesn't even require a full day sometimes. Sometimes you just need 30, 40
Right.
minutes minimum too. And it's
Right.
like that self-care thing. Yes, self-care is the key. And it's like
Mm-hmm.
some people do not know that or don't understand that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's critical. So
Yes.
when
And
for
something
me,
else that I would suggest, I'm sorry, go
go
ahead.
ahead. Go ahead.
Since we're on the subject, mental health and stuff, you know, that's people are getting more comfortable, I think, now on social media talking about it. Back in my era, the 70s, it wasn't talked about as much. But now even I'm understanding like how important it is. Um, because again, in when you're doing something yourself, you have to know yourself. You have to know your limits. You have to know how much you can take, who you are. um, One of the things I found out about myself during this journey is I'm a hypersensitive person.
Mm,
So knowing that I respond differently than to some things than other people, but knowing myself now allows me to be a better person in my business because I have to deal with the public. I have to deal with certain issues that come up as a CEO or the owner, that
Yeah.
everything's on my plate. And if I didn't know I was a hypersensitive person, which a year back, I didn't, just taking the process, if you know you want to be an entrepreneur first, I think the first thing to do is understand your mental health, who you are and how you respond to things should be first. Know who you are and then execute on your ideas, things you want to do, how you want to do it.
Okay. So, do you have a process of how do you like write a lot of stuff down? Do you have what people call vision boards or planning boards? You do a lot of that?
I do. And mind mapping, and yeah,
Okay.
I got books and books of it.
Okay.
Yep.
It's interesting. All
Yep.
right.
Love a vision board. Love it.
All right, we're gonna dive in a little more deep now. All right. So fast forward, you're quote unquote, you're officially your own boss. You're officially your own
Hmm.
owner.
Hmm.
Let's see, within your first, say, 5 years,
Hmm.
have you felt or dealt with um, mm, negativity close to home?
All the time. And when you say negativity, you can break that down for me.
Uh, just people just
I always got something to say.
yeah. Be careful
Hmm.
with my words.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah.
it's
All the
it's
time. It comes along with it. And especially between an expertise per type person and a generalist. An expertise I have known has the most to say, a person who's tunneled on one thing
yeah,
always has something to say on somebody who's doing three or four things at one time. It just doesn't register to them how that makes sense. So you're all and since that portion of the population, in my opinion, is larger than a generalist, it's gonna seem like that's normal. Like what
yeah,
you're doing, it doesn't make sense. All this looks normal. So the chatter is always going to be coming towards you. When people don't understand something, they got the most to say.
yeah. Because they don't, in their mindset, it should be this way, but they don't realize it's more than one way to do
More than one way.
something. But we're all
Hmm.
trying to reach that same goal.
Yes.
So you might have a better understanding in your path because you've been on that
Hmm.
path longer. But
Hmm.
that doesn't say I have to follow the same path. I might be able to get some insight on certain
Hmm.
things, but
Hmm.
I have to dissect that and process that and then move forward in my way of my understanding.
In the
So
way that you need it. Yes.
exactly, because if I try to do it your way, it
Hmm.
might stress me out more.
Absolutely. Exactly.
It's,
But it's what everybody knows is their way. That's
yeah,
whatever success looks like to them. They're not going to try to take the time to understand what it looks like for you. So that's the thing with people. You just got to let them be like, they're not going to take the time to get to know you. So
no,
the most thing you got to go through too with people with negativity is when you start losing, because that's their moment. I told you so.
yeah, because
You
they wait
know,
on that. It's like,
exactly.
yeah, you're not gonna be successful. You're just wasting your time.
Mm-hmm.
You need to do this. You need to
Mm-hmm.
do that, and it's like,
Mm-hmm.
but then that's the other part of it too is learning how to not respond how you normally respond based on that circumstance, right? Being
That
able to
part.
respond opposite and learning
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
that does a lot of wonders. And what
It does.
happens that pisses people off more because
Mm-hmm.
now you're responding more on a positive side versus a negative response. And they're like, okay, so what's going on? Why did I not respond in the way I want to respond? But it's
Mm-hmm.
like, no, I've gotten to the point where I realize I don't need to respond. Or I
Mm-hmm.
don't need to respond the way I usually do because I'm not saying I'm better than you. I say I'm trying to better myself
And
and
a
don't take it.
response is always just someone triggered you. That's why I said you got to know yourself. When you work
Mhm.
for yourself, you got to know what triggers you.
Yeah,
Because when you don't feel triggered, you don't need to respond to anything. They didn't trigger anything. And one thing that people do when you're in this island by yourself, entrepreneur, they know your triggers, you know. So when you're not being triggered and you staying focused,
Yep.
you don't respond. When you lose and they say I told you so, you know the trigger is I was already prepared for this moment. You know, I
Yeah.
know how to respond to that. My hypersensitivity, you know, type person that I am now. I know certain things that's gonna trigger me.
Mhm.
So by me knowing that about myself now, I try to be focused on it. Like
Yeah.
I want to respond because of this. And I can't because I have to stay focused on my business. I have to stay focused
Exactly.
on getting up. I gotta restructure, you know, I have to just keep going because this is what I was meant to do. So
Yeah.
the triggers are just they just there for that.
The
And you're
thing
gonna
is
get a
that
lot of them as an entrepreneur.
and being able to learn to see the triggers before they actually happen is another golden ticket. Don't get me
Mm-hmm.
wrong, we're human. We'll get triggered from time to time, but being
Mm-hmm.
able to see and feel it before it happened and be able to
Mm-hmm.
step back and say, "You know what? You have a good day. You have a blessed day."
Right. Right.
And just and then but I've seen it where you're staying positive the whole time and you're looking at them and seeing them like they are heated.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's okay, wow, what, man, wow, what that? No, it's just you have a good day. It's like
Yeah.
you just politely in the conversation there, or don't even respond to a
Mm-hmm.
text, or
Right.
don't even the phone call or whatever. It's like even
Mm-hmm.
emails. I've learned when I was being a manager at Caterpillar, especially emails.
Mm-hmm.
Woo!
Yes.
um, you read that email initially,
Mm-hmm.
it
And you trying to
you
figure out the tone, like
yeah, you read that and you're like, oh, whoa, 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 oh yeah, oh okay,
what's
and
the
you're
way
like,
I'm reading it?
and then
Yeah.
you're down on that laptop or computer keyboard, and you're like, and you catch it, so you know what? Mm-mm.
Mhm. Nah,
It
not
def
today.
Yeah, my manager and, when I was in, Atlanta, not Georgia,
Mhm.
she brought me in the office one time, and she knew she read that email, you was upset. You didn't say nothing
Mhm.
disrespectful, but I could
Mhm.
tell you upset,
You in a bad day.
and it's like she knew what was happening. She knew I did everything correctly,
Mhm.
and, something else transpired, and they started putting blame.
All right.
Even though I did my process and my step correctly, did everything right, there was still downtime. They say, "Oh, Clive took 20 minutes to show up," which wasn't true.
Mhm.
Different stuff. And she told me, "You know what? Moving forward, especially," she said, "when you see your emotions try to kick in, do not respond right away.
Right.
Sometimes if you need the rest of the day or the rest of the afternoon to respond, or the following day, do that."
Absolutely.
So I
Right.
had to learn that.
Mhm.
And then when I got into a management role here and I moved to Texas a couple of times, especially being in a leadership role, woo, you get some stuff. And I've learned, especially those emails coming in the morning,
Mhm.
um, depends on who sends it. I know a response is not needed right now.
Does not
I
need it
I
because you're in your emotions, and the art of war is always first know your enemy within, which is your
mm,
triggers, and then two, never respond to anything when you're in your emotions
yeah.
because
It's like
emotions should not lead you.
exactly, because you have the right intention of what you wanna do right then in the moment, but
Mhm.
when you start responding, that's either by typing or
Mhm.
by verbal or whatever,
Right.
halfway through, you're realizing it's your emotions taking over,
Mhm.
and then when you hit that send button or you say what you have to say, you can't take it back.
Ain't take it
It's
back.
already out.
Right.
And you can try your best to say, "Hey, that's not what I meant," or
Mhm.
in reality, you didn't really mean it. It's just you were triggered
Mhm.
and
Right.
you were just like a firecracker in a moment, right?
Mhm.
So just wait a minute. Sometimes some people um, don't understand why you're silent. Why
Mhm.
are you silent? I need a response to you now. No, I'm not responding to you now. I'm gonna respond to you on
Yeah.
my time when I feel it's the right time to respond. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? But at the same time, you should not be taking this personally because I'm not.
Right.
Especially in the business aspect where people need to understand it's like sometimes the smartest thing to do is not say nothing.
Right. And I
when it's
had to learn that, especially an entrepreneur, because you're going to get so much more that coming at you,
yeah,
and you try to respond to everything because you're that person. You are the business. You are the face. You are the character of the business and so forth. So you're going to get more tests coming to you
yeah.
than anybody. That's why I said you have to be built for it.
Mm,
You got to know when to respond. And I had to learn from years the hard way. That is one of the things through my journey that I had to learn the hard way. Don't respond to everything. Don't, um, like you said, leave some people on red.
mm,
Don't be triggered by everything. And now I'm at that point, in this journey that I understand that like it's just too much. There's people that's not gonna like you. There's people that's gonna judge your work, and even though you can be top tier, if they're there to trigger you, they're gonna call you unprofessional. That was one of my worst fears, and now I'm so comfortable with it. But
because
that used to be so scared to be called unprofessional.
man, what is
It,
professional? That's the
it
thing.
to me, right? What is your definition? Because to me, is being able to do the service or job that I said I was going to do at the utmost level. Now, my tone sometimes, I mean, it's just so much, whatever a person feels like they feel like professional is. You're right. Like, what does that mean? One thing I found in real estate is it's like some things people consider professional was over and beyond what your original duties were when in the
Mhm.
contract that you
Yeah.
hired me for. You want me to call you after 6 o'clock when I work 9 to 5. Uh, you want me to add in something in the contract that I can't, or I don't feel comfortable doing, under the scope of my license or something. It's just like sometimes people say unprofessional is when they can't get what they want out of you, or they don't like something that you said. So you're unprofessional. So
Yeah.
I had to go through years of that, like really being comfortable having someone say that about me. Like,
Yeah.
okay, okay, I respect everyone's opinion, but
Mm,
I can't respond to that. They'll send
yeah.
an email, the same
You
thing, and it
you
was like,
can't take it personal. That's
yeah,
the key thing too, is that you can. So it's like
mm-hmm,
people gonna say what they want, people gonna think what they think. At the end
mm-hmm,
of the day, as long as you're comfortable within yourself of what you're doing and you're ensuring that you're doing everything to your ability that you feel is correct,
correct,
it should be fine within
mm-hmm,
yourself, right?
within
But
yourself,
you can't say or do things exactly everyone else because then we all be
mm-hmm,
robots. We'll all
exactly,
be in that same realm. Like you need to do this. You got to get up every day. Back to the old school.
mm-hmm,
Wake up every day, do 9 to 5, make money, come home.
mm-hmm, and you'll be exhausted.
Yeah, it's like
There's no way.
when do you find time for yourself? Because
Yeah,
now you got to worry about this, worry about that.
yeah. And you'll just be exhausted trying to prevent that instead of preparing yourself as an entrepreneur. That's, should be in your plan. Like,
Yeah.
that's going to come along with it. How do you prepare yourself with it? Okay. Do you have a therapist? Do you have exercise? I mean, something to take care of yourself to be prepared for it. So
Okay.
it's something I wish I would have known earlier.
I have this thing I started thinking about and saying back in 23. Um, I've always said it. It's like I wish I knew what I know now back then. But
Hmm.
then I realized it wasn't meant for me to know it back then. It's meant for me to
Yeah.
know it now.
Well, you know it now.
Yeah,
Yeah, that
because
makes
we
sense.
because we wish that we knew then, but maybe it
Mhm.
wasn't our time to learn that then. We had to go through that
Exactly.
journey to have a better understanding. We gotta even now still I'm still learning a lot of things. Like I still fumble and stuff. I need to learn from
Hmm.
that. But I don't look at it as a negative like I used to. Everything as a learning lesson. So,
Hmm.
but I have to be true to myself. To the point
Right.
where I'm being true to myself. I'm not going to let anyone deter me from how I feel in relations to myself. And then I
Hmm.
need to roll that into my day to day, my current job, my goal into being an entrepreneur and becoming an entrepreneur in different business and different ventures. That's my goal. But
Hmm.
I can't sugarcoat it no more. To the point I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to dim my light for anyone, right?
Right.
And I want to
Mhm.
ensure that no one else that's around me don't do the same thing. Make sure your light still shines, regardless of what's
Right.
going on.
Right.
So that's what I like to use myself as that learning lesson of my mistakes, and I'm owning to those mistakes. So like I have to
Right.
ensure that I have to keep moving forward and not let
Mhm.
it dim my light or not let it
Stop you.
hinder me or anything like that. It's like I have to keep moving forward. At the same time,
Mhm.
those lessons I've learned to ensure I have to make sure they stay back there. I
Right.
found
And they become a part of you, just like
yeah,
patches. I think we're
yeah,
patchwork. Every part of our journey is a patchwork of who we are at the point that we're at today,
yeah,
and it's needed. You know.
true. I found this TikTok, I think it was a couple days ago, and it was in the aspect of saying it was yourself. It was showing your old self and your new self, and it was literally just my new self shaking my hand, saying goodbye to my old self, and
Mm.
the old self just evaporated. So
Mm.
that's how I feel now.
Nice.
And it's crazy where I'm dealing with certain things and I'm seeing like different videos popping up that
Mhm.
I can relate to.
Yeah.
And that's one of the I feel that's one of the hardest things to do
Yeah.
is
Saying bye to your old
say
self.
bye to your old self
Yeah.
because that's your normal, that's what you're used to, that's what you're comfortable in. But
Exactly.
then you realize that some of those comfortabilities are not good for you
Mm-mm. Not in this season.
because it's allowing you to make stupid mistakes.
Yes. We
So
actually had that talk today. That's funny. My husband and I. That is crazy. Like 2 hours ago, we were
yeah,
talking about like transitioning into a new space and
evolving.
learning how to be a new person in that space because you can't bring your old self into a new chapter.
Yeah,
It,
especially if you've seen yourself being successful
mm-hmm,
in anything, life
mm-hmm,
itself, relationships, business,
mm-hmm.
whatever.
Yep.
And that's the scary part. And I can say it
Yeah.
is a scary part, but it's like it's needed
Very
and is wanted.
right.
So it's like you gotta do it. Like the comment we had earlier, I think leap of faith. And
Yeah.
I can
And
say
life is
that,
ever evolving.
yep. Just having that low light of believing in yourself is one
Mm-hmm,
thing, and you gotta hold on to that.
mm-hmm,
And don't let your past mistakes hold you back and with anything you do. And I can say
right.
that for myself. It's like I know what needs to be done moving forward, these extra steps. I said these size 14's got to make these big steps, you know.
Right.
So it's like
Yeah.
taking those steps in relations, like I told you, the creating an LLC. I procrastinated that for a minute, and I
Mm-hmm.
finally did it.
Mm-hmm.
And now knowing the next step is to okay, now that I have it, that's like having a degree. I look at it, have now you have your degree. So what you gonna do about it? What you gonna do with
Mm-hmm.
it?
Right.
And don't let it catch dust. So you know what you want. You know what you want to do. Then make that step. Of course, do your research. So
Do your research.
listen to people past mistakes to ensure that you
Mm-hmm.
understand that you don't make those mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still not going to be easy. But at the end of the day, at least you know you have a better outcome now because your past ancestors, I'm gonna say ancestors, people, your past
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurs, they have paved that path for you because you
Right.
have social
Mm-hmm.
media, you got YouTube, you got all this stuff people talking about. Hey, I've done this. This is what I've done. X, Y,
Mm-hmm.
Z. But at the end of the day, you're
Mm-hmm.
still going to make mistakes. But some of these mistakes you can avoid because I'm telling you, uh, this is what I've done. This is what I see that you need to do to ensure that you don't have those same outcomes like I did. You know.
It is such a different world right now. It's so much information on internet. I say it again. When I started my journey, this is none of this stuff like what you can find so easily now.
Mhm.
What's possible? I mean, when we say we literally had to get it out the mud, that's what we had to do. We even going to a library system. We had the little cards, the little Dewey system. We had to go fish and find and get information. Now information is so
It's
readily available.
it's
It's crazy.
there. You just
Yes.
do a search, you type it in,
Mm.
and then boom. And then
It's there.
You got Chat GPT. So that's another
Yes.
cheat code.
We have that. Mm-hmm.
And it's like it gives you have a blueprint in your mind already.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You just need to type it out, figure out some of those navigations, and you have these tools to help you navigate. But
Yes.
the old school mentality, writing stuff down, I still feel that's something that's key, still needed. Write it down,
Mm-hmm.
see if it
Mm-hmm.
makes sense, and
Mm-hmm.
just do what you got to do. But
Yes.
it's so much hidden gems that they still don't talk
Is.
about.
Mm.
But especially on
It's
the
mostly money.
yeah, on the minority side of things,
Yeah.
they a lot of stuff is hidden, and you
Yeah.
gotta really understand it. Do your research, do your analysis or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and understand like, okay, what is there available for me, especially for a startup?
Mm-hmm.
Is there any type of funding or is there any type of guidance? They're there. They're not gonna advertise it for you. But
No,
Speedy and
that's the part you really gotta go find.
yeah, but
Yeah, you're
Speedy
right.
and Joe Smo down the road, they talking to each other. They know all that information. At the same
Exactly.
time, it's like, why gatekeep, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you want to see your people succeed in anything.
Mm-hmm.
That's even comes down not even just entrepreneurship, down to kids in school, different services that provided. A lot of that stuff is
Mm-hmm.
gatekeep,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like I understand why
And
if you look back in the past situation, but it's just frustrating. You
you know,
realize I know, but it's like it's so frustrating. You realize, oh, this ain't nothing new. This been here. I'm like, what?
yeah,
And
yeah,
it's like you got kids here need a lot of things, and you're just gatekeeping them.
yeah. And then not a lot of things that were successful in businesses back during the Black Wall Street days, a lot of them reinvested into each other's businesses.
Yep.
And that is the number one reason a lot of our businesses fail is because the access to capital is so hard to get.
They
Um,
add these different criterias. They make it harder.
yeah, they make it
That's
harder. And it is very hard. I'm still trying to figure out that missing piece really to get the amount of money that I can function off of for 2 to 3 years, so I can just concentrate on what I do the best is create and now give me money to put people in place. you know, let me create the jobs, let me create, but getting that is just even, you got the Small Business Administration, they'll take you through the process of try to help you get approved, but it's so difficult.
it
It's
is.
a lot of process. It's so difficult. So one thing I would like to see as far as us is we invest into each other's businesses. Once
Mm,
we get to a certain mark, have some money I got 10,000 for you, Clive, to,
mm,
your business. I would like to become an investor uh,
sure, do the same
in your
thing.
business.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Um,
if we just kept that going, it would be great.
I'll come back to that. I watched an interview with Shaq yesterday. I don't know how old it was. Um, they asked him how many companies do he own.
Hmm.
His answer said, "I don't know." It was like, huh? So he piggybacked back when he made his first whatever millions when he first got into the NBA, right?
Hmm.
He
Hmm.
did the usual, spend it off on some ridiculous stuff, right?
Hmm.
Bought this expensive ride. He bought his daddy expensive ride. He bought his mother's expensive ride. He bought the jewelry. Da 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 da. So now his his banker or whatever called him and say, "Hey, he put this paper down. This is him not knowing." He saw all this different names, these different charges. He thinking someone's stealing money from him. Reality, that's you check swiping your card. But of course, the business have different entity names on the charge side. It has different names. So he thought he
Uh,
was squandering money. So he met this person or whatever it was and told him, like, look, you need to get yourself in order. So he I think the same banker did. He threw his book down in front of him.
mm-hmm.
Something for dummies. I can't forgot what it was called. Um and what Shaq started getting into, the one chapter he fell in love was investing. He said, everything else you
Mm.
learn, you got into invest.
Mhm.
So what it was, he said, no, I want to make the money, but I don't want to run the business.
Mhm.
So what he started doing
Right.
was he, for example, people that I think it was three restaurants he said he owned in Vegas at the time. These guys run this business. Like for example, you're into real estate. You know your key thing in real estate. These guys knew about restaurants.
Mhm.
So instead of Shaq himself trying to run these businesses, he invested in those guys.
Mm.
He's part owner. So he's making money
Mhm.
without having to lift a finger. So that's why he keeps
Mm.
answering, I don't know how many businesses I have because he's in
Mhm.
so many different businesses, multiple streams of income. So that's his main thing is I'm an investor. You
That
do the
part.
work,
Yes.
I make
Uh-huh.
money on the back end.
Mhm.
So I'm like,
Love.
uh,
Yes.
so back
Love.
to what you're saying is he is investing, investing,
Mhm.
and he's just sitting back and reaping the benefits. So same things you're
Mhm.
saying, you make yourself to a point where I need to bring someone else in, you invest in them. So it's a domino effect. So you say
Right.
you give me 100,000, I get to a certain point, I'm good. Let me go ahead and bring someone else in. And it do the same
Mhm.
thing. Keep going, keep going.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
back forward now is you look at different communities. Who
Mhm.
invest who are some of the major individuals that invest within themselves wise? Jewish,
Yep.
Chinese, Asian, what you want to call it.
Yep.
Um, other communities, but the major one that struggles is us
Right. And
because
why?
it's the culture thing. It's a lot of that and different things, and it's like you're trying to help your community.
Mhm.
It's frowned upon. Oh, you think you better? You
Mhm.
think you better? No, it's not that. It's like I want to see our
Mhm.
community succeed, be successful.
Right.
But then you
Right.
see some individuals, especially no matter where they came from, they could have been like, a dope pusher or whatever back in the day, but they
Mhm.
decided, you know what, let me just do my own thing, start running businesses legitly, and let me bring
Mhm.
somebody else up. It's just jealousy type of thing. Is like I don't understand it. But
And you said
then,
the key word legitly,
yeah, being
because when I
legit, doing it,
yeah.
and it's like now I'm to the point I feel successful. Let me help the next person.
Right.
Oh, you think you're better than me? No, it's not that. I want you to be successful too.
Right.
But then I said,
And
but you go
and
there's other industries. It's like I said, the other races or whatever you want to call it,
mhm.
they do it fine. Yeah, they might
Mhm.
have issues too, but at the end of the day, they look out for each other. They're still going
They
to do that.
do.
And they make sure you invest in your brother. And that's why they buying all these blocks up, and that's all you see. They own these all. Like for example, down here, there's a one plaza owned by straight Asians, a huge plaza
Yeah.
with
Mhm.
15, 20 different businesses up in there.
And they all Asian.
It's like, why can't we do that? Well, we did back in the day.
We did it. We did it before.
But
We
it's
got
like,
discouraged. Yeah.
it's just like, it's why you feel so scared.
Mhm.
Why? It's like, and now that's where you see we start to separate ourselves
Yeah.
and just do our own thing and say, you know what, let me just focus on me and my family.
Mhm.
That's
I
it.
think when the focus was taken, it was well, we ain't gonna talk about that. Like I said, but
Yeah.
integration and all that stuff, that's another subject. We were
Yeah.
like, we take the focus off of,
Mhm.
ourselves, and we're trying to be spread all over the place instead of just staying focused. And that's what happens.
Yeah. So it's just,
That's what happens.
yeah. So it's the point now. It's like, I feel, I don't say all, but I think that's why I say some of us are be better off just doing our own thing.
Hmm.
If we have a partner involved with us, then fine.
Hmm.
But it's just we don't want the drama. We don't want the
Right.
issues. The outer normal, if you catch what I'm saying, unnecessary
Hmm.
drama
Hmm.
issues. So it's like, I just want to focus on me and myself and my peoples, my close
Hmm.
knit, and then that's it.
That's
Sad
it.
to say,
That's
but that's it.
it. Yes.
So let me ask you one quick question.
Yes.
Besides the normal road stops, Have you ever experienced those once in a blue moon situations where up to this day you still can't believe it happened? Like those odd buckets, I call them, where
Mhm.
like, "Oh, how why?" Have you ever had to deal with something like that where you know it
In a
don't
good
normally
way
happen?
or a bad way?
Both.
Definitely bad way. Yes. Like how, why. Again, it comes with the journey. It depends on who you are and where you at in that process. What do you have around you? So, um, good way. I I don't know if you heard that back, but my Great Dane is drinking water.
I heard
You're
it. Mhm.
like, stop it. Hold up. So, good way. Oh, I've had businesses. One of my most successful business was our youth league basketball that we had in Kentucky, and it was one of those instances that people didn't understand that you could take your love for coaching and want to mentor kids and have it as a for-profit business. So we had that. So there was a gentleman that I did not see helping really navigate, and he kind of is the one that taught me how to play chess in business. Like there's certain things you have to do to get what you want, even though you don't agree with it sometimes.
Mhm.
And I'm not talking about anything illegal with this, but it's just ways you have to move like a chess player when
Yeah.
especially when you're asking things of other people to help you. But these people have something that you need, but they also have they're more likely to say no because of who they are.
Yeah.
So you have to maneuver, use what you got. So he became that person out of the blue for me
Mm.
on getting what I needed for the business without them even knowing that they were funding me or helping me to get to do. And so the business was just real successful. So that came out the blue because I didn't see him being that person. So what that taught me is like sometimes um, God will send you, your people, and it's not going to look like who you think it needs to look like. Or if it's just like you just gotta always stay open to the fact that you're gonna get what you need, but it may not look like
Your
what
normal,
you
what you
thought.
yeah.
Yes. I would have never seen this situation working the way that it did. Like, would have never said it. So that's about it, for me. Like I said, I can name a number of wows, especially in real estate. You know, I've had clients that I went over and beyond for and stay true to who I am, and then they, revealed who they are
Mhm.
or where. So it's detrimental, but
Yeah.
to keep moving. So I've had a
Yeah.
lot of those that
Yeah.
people turn their backs. You start off one way, and then by the middle of it, things are imploding. Like what happened? Like I thought we were on the same accord, but you're not. So I've just learned that people change, and you just got to know how to keep going.
Yeah.
It's gonna change for the better. It's gonna change for the worse if you let it.
Okay.
But think change is definitely gonna happen.
Okay. I like that. All right. So Iris, we're getting close. So let's what are some nuggets you want to spread out to someone that's looking to enter into entrepreneurship or already into it? And
Okay.
what sort of guidance or golden nuggets that you want to let the audience know? Hey,
First thing, know yourself. Very, 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 very important. Understand yourself. Take some time to know yourself. When you get that urge or that spark, or you see something, say, "Hey, I want to start a business." Understand that you are the business, so you need to know yourself.
okay.
Once you get past that and understanding everything, understand business because there's so many facets to it. A lot of times people think you take an idea. If I make money, I have a business. you're making money, but there's so many other things about a business that you need to do to be a complete business. So take the time to learn that information. Go to the free courses at SBA. We got a lot of things on internet that just teach about business setup. And once you get past that, as far as your business plan, understand what your business plan is. It's just clarity on your idea. So in order to have clarity, you have to understand each part of the business plan and how you fit into it. So those are the main three, because again, I see so many people, they realize that people like their food. So they start selling plates. Now you're making money. Now you're making more money because people are telling other people how good your food is. Now you're in this business, but you're not set up properly as a business. You don't have a CPA. You don't have contracts. You don't have. I'm also in commercial insurance. That's another big thing I'm seeing a lot of people are not taking seriously, especially us. Commercial business insurance.
Yeah.
Because the more that you accumulate and more money you start making, the more that the risk of you getting sued for something is higher.
Yeah.
So if you have dreams of growing your business into this, whatever number your business plan, make sure that you're covered. You're talking to a commercial insurance agent to
Okay.
make sure your risk is covered. So just once you get beyond, like I said, that your idea or product can make money,
Mm.
now you need to make sure that you're a business person and you're trained for that.
Okay.
So, and do whatever you need to do. You need to study. You need to research. You need to get into classes. Um, and again, and just know yourself. You're constantly having to readjust who you are to deal with everything that's going to come to you.
Okay. Yeah, some good, I would say knowledge. Some good information. I
Yes.
like that. So big thing, research. You're not too old, you're not too young to keep researching. Even if your business is still successful, it's
Yes.
okay to keep learning
Mm-hmm.
and evolving within yourself. Yes. Also evolve within your business. Yes. Because it's that wave thing. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're in a specific industry, yes, but it
Mm-hmm.
changes. It may not
Changes.
change every day or every month. It might change every year, but you gotta have to understand, okay, what do I need to know? What has changed? So I can make sure that I'm still
Yeah.
on that right path or that right rave to me. Because at the end of the day, yes, I still want to make money. But I have to
Mm-hmm.
make sure my business is being taken care of internally.
For example, real estate today is not the same real estate 2 years ago during
Exactly.
COVID.
Exactly.
Totally different. Totally different. So yeah, everything changes. Mortgages, when I did it, is not the same industry as it is today.
Mm.
You know, it changed 2008, changed everything. When the market crashed, wasn't the same business as it was when I started right before it.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot has
So
changed. So it's like
yeah.
you gotta make sure you keep up with everything. It's a lot.
Hmm. It's a
But
lot.
if you keep ahead of the wave per se, it's you don't be kind of
Hmm.
catch off guard. You know,
Yeah,
as I said, at the end of the day,
absolutely.
you're the face of the business, and if you're
Hmm.
not paying attention to a lot of things, you can be left behind, and it takes a longer time for you to catch back up.
Hmm. But
All
that's
right,
what you got to be okay with failing too. So, but
exactly. And as I use those as a learning lesson in anything
yes,
and everything.
right,
So, all right,
absolutely.
all right, so that's gonna be for us today. Thank you, appreciate it.
You're
Um,
welcome.
this definitely will kind of give you a little understanding on the podcast thing. So now you kind of have a like a side. So
Mhm.
whenever you're ready to do another one, let me know. Cool.
Absolutely. Same here. I'm always, that's my love. Anybody that need assistance with business or been doing it for 25, 27 years, need a tip, need some clarity, need some assistance with commercial business insurance, I can handle that too.
I'll be definitely giving you a call.
That sounds good.
All right. Enjoy your evening. Don't log off yet. But chat Thanks everyone for joining. We were live on every platform for the first time with no issues except for my camera. I don't know what's going on. But um, we had a lot of response on TikTok, obviously. Yes. Thanks everyone for the likes and of course the comments. I wish I could have integrated over here, but couldn't see it. But there's a lot of understanding. Entrepreneurship is something that I think is part of you already without you knowing. So, and make
It shows
sure,
you.
yes, make sure don't go into it blindly. Number one, do
Mhm,
not go into it for the wrong thing. Go into it
mhm,
because the first is your love and what you want to do. Yes,
mm,
do your research, have a better understanding, have a mentor or mentee, mentor. Um, Reach out to someone that you know has been in the game for a while. For example, Iris. Um, just make sure get all your ducks in a row before you, as we say, go live. Just make sure you have an
mhm,
understanding. Make sure that it's not going to be all roses all the time, especially in the beginning.
mhm.
But the one thing I've seen a
Not
lot,
even fun sometimes.
yeah. But one thing I've seen a lot of people I've been watching and listening to is you're grinding that first 2 years minimum.
Mhm, mhm,
Um, just understand it's like you have a goal,
yeah,
and especially if you have a community that's there for you, pushing you and motivating you, that's a plus. But
mhm,
if they understand your vision and see your vision too, and they see you want to give up and they say, no, you got a goal to make, you got a goal to do, whatever it is, if you say, hey, I want to be a certain way or a certain step or a certain whatever it is, with the next two
mhm,
years, you have that deadline for that first stage. When you reach that stage, that doesn't mean you stop.
right.
You plan for the next one. Just keep going and keep rolling. But always invest back into yourself. That's reading, going to classes, um,
Mhm,
meeting people that's been there before you, that's willing to talk to you. Um,
mhm,
Even though you might make a profit 100,000 the first year, do not be like the other small Joes and be broke. Take some of that money, invest back in. Just it's
mhm,
whatever it is, and just make sure you have a goal to meet, whatever that is. Whatever you said, the first quarter, this is where I want to be. Next quarter,
mhm.
this is where I want to be, and then write it down. This is me preaching to myself too,
Yeah,
but
and be clear.
just be
Clarity.
clear with it and just understand it's gonna come with some as we say haters. It's gonna come with
Yeah,
it. But make sure you're clear of what you want, make sure you're clear of what you need, and just keep moving forward. Because at the end of the day, you're gonna realize you're gonna wake up one day and realize, oh, I can take the foot off the gas a little bit. Okay. All right.
mhm,
I can relax for a little bit now. All right, I'm good.
mhm,
So,
mhm.
but going back to what we said, make sure you still find time for yourself. It's
Right.
important.
You first.
You can't be going on the road 100 miles an hour and forgot you gotta go stop at a rest stop and get gas, and then you're burn yourself out, and now you're like, "Uh-oh." But find that
Mhm,
time for yourself. As I said, it doesn't
absolutely.
require a lot. It could be 20, 30 minutes or whatever it is. Um,
Mhm,
but it's key. It's important, and you gotta take care of your physical, you gotta take care of that mental. At the same time, be true to yourself, love yourself, and don't let anyone tell you anything differently. It's
absolutely.
it. So, guys, thanks to everyone. It's going to be another episode of Candid Conversations. We got more to come. I said, me and Iris were talking, and we got a couple things coming. So, stay tuned. As always, stay safe, stay
Yeah.
blessed. Catch you guys.